Hey, what it do, what the business is.
It is another week in the books with the OndeckTV podcast. I am Spike Lou.
Man, holla at your boy Animal Brown, Animal_Brown if you're looking for me on Twitter and Instagram.
Absolutely. I am Spike Lou on your same socials, man. Holla at your boy. How you holding up out there?
Hey, man, I'm holding up fine. I almost went to the movies. I didn't do it, though, but I almost did. I can't say that I won't go when that Tenet comes out, though. When that come out, I might have to buck it.
You are insane with your crusade to go to the movies, dude. Like, I don't understand it. Yeah, I don't understand. There's recycled air. There's a whole lot of stuff that you should be weary of going to the movies, and you just determined to go in. I don't understand it. People care about you, man. They don't want to see you sit in the movies and get corona.
New air filter system, man.
Oh, my God. He told you that?
Yes. Did they lie?
Yes.
They're risking a zillion-dollar lawsuit to lie to me.
All of that money that they're losing from nobody coming to see movies, let's put in a brand new air filtration system that costs millions of dollars per location.
Yes.
No.
Facts.
Don't think that. Stream it, dude. Just stream it. That Tenet look good in the motherfucker, though. I do got to admit that.
I got to watch that in IMAX. I can't cheat myself at the crib. My TV black and white.
I got a movie. I'll screen it at the crib for you.
Hey, I have a black and white 13-inch. Everybody's not able, sir.
Yeah, 8 inches and better at the crib. So you can just watch it at the crib, dude. I'll send out tickets, dude. I'll send out tickets.
I'm pulling up then. Fuck it.
All right, what we got this week, man? What are the quick hits?
Action-packed week this week, guys. Master P vents on Instagram. 50 Cent loses a battle to Rick Ross. And a Travis Scott reference track leaks. Let's find out Travis Scott got a ghostwriter, man. Got a lot of people looking crazy out here. And then, of course, we also review Nas's latest album, King's Disease. But first, we have a developing story in the Megan Thee Stallion, Tory Lanez situation. Megan Thee Stallion took to Instagram on her live, had a very long rant, and she finally confirmed with what a lot of people thought was this situation to begin with, that Tory Lanez is the person who shot her. Now, I know, dun, dun, dun. She made it official. It came from the horse's mouth, which begs the question, because Tory Lanez has still went dark. He is still silent. What does the future hold for Mr. Lanez?
Came from the horse's mouth was funny.
Yes.
Megan Thee Stallion.
No pun intended.
It's over for Tory Lanez. I ain't even gonna hold you. I ain't even gonna press you. Tory Lanez, I mean, it seems as if Meg was pissed off because of the spin that his team was trying to put on it. And I mean, she finally had her tipping point, and rightfully so. If a nigga shot me, I would definitely, at the very least, go on Instagram and express my discontent with it. But with that being said, there's situations that you just don't bounce back from. And I think that talent being an issue here, Tory Lanez being a talented guy, he's not Chris Brown talented. He ain't R. Kelly talented. Like he's not. I'm just saying that those people, even with the atrocious shit that they did, were still able to maintain even a certain like small fan base. I think everybody's gonna be out on Tory. One, because he doesn't have enough talent, like I said, to overcome something like this. Two, like there's no explanation. Like we haven't heard his side of the story. I'm not necessarily interested in it either, just based on what Meg has told us. The only comparison that I may see for him still being able to exist in this music industry, and when I say it's over, I mean there's no more Tory Lanez. He can write songs. He'll be able to make money in this business because he is talented in that aspect of it. Maybe like your boy Hit Boy. When he went through changing his name from Young Berg to Hit Boy, doing the whole rebranding, Hitmaker, excuse me. Doing that whole rebranding may be something that Tory Lanez could do 2-3 years from now. But for now, going back up to Toronto, put your cap up, it's over.
Yeah, it's not looking good. Let me say that. The main reason it's not looking good is because we are hearing one side of the story. And it doesn't sound good at all. Like these details that she's laying out, if this is how it happened, it sounds crazy. Like, and you've got a lot of people coming out and speaking out in defense of Megan. Because there's two ways to look at this. Number one, why do you know what it was that she was referring to when she said that Tory's team was trying to spin it? Do you know what she was referring to? Because I don't. I didn't see what he hasn't said anything. I don't know if they tried to throw it to some blogs and then some blogs do some stuff like that. Like I don't know. Maybe she's referring to the Adam 22 stuff where they kind of said that she was the aggressor in the situation. Maybe some stuff like that. Some, you know, that DJ Academics kind of alluded to that as well. But there's nothing so far that I've heard that justifies Tory Lanez shooting at her or shooting her, period. So I don't. That's why I say, and I'm echoing your sentiments too, that it's likely over for Tory Lanez in terms of being Tory Lanez, like the go-to guy for the hooks, the go-to guy for the features, people giving a damn about Chicks Tape 6, 7, or 8. Like all of that is probably donezo, at least for the short term or the near future. With that being said, I am interested in hearing what he has to say, and I feel T.I. when he says that Tory needs to say something, because if I feel like if this wasn't true or if there were some holes in her story, that you would want to come out and give your piece and say what happened from your perspective. Again, I can't think of any scenario that would make me go, oh, okay, I see why he shot at her then. I can't see that unless she had a gun too. But like I just can't see it. So I'm not even saying it would necessarily help him, but his silence is speaking volumes, and it's not helping this case at all. And we're in a pandemic, and we're bored. There's nothing else to talk about. This couldn't happen at a worse time for Tory Lanez.
And part of that has something to do with him being so active prior to this. Like the whole quarantine radio, like Tory Lanez was the star of the quarantine.
He was shaking it.
Absolutely. And now to go radio silent about what happened, I think is part of it. And the team part, what's been rolled out. I've seen what you said about Adam 22 and asking that, you know, that she invited him to a party and, you know, he wasn't acting kosher and things got out of hand. I've seen all of that, but I'm in the same boat as you. Like, I haven't seen anything that says, that's painting her in a light of like he had to shoot her. And I don't think that you're going to see anything that says like he had to shoot her. Like, that's an unacceptable act. And I think that like to come out and try to spin it, he knows no one is going to buy it, especially at this point. So I think his best bet is to just shut up, go back to whatever cave you crawled out of in Canada and just call it a night. Like, write songs. Niggas will hit him up for the hooks on the low.
Oh, you mean to ghostwrite them?
Yeah, the ghostwrite them. The price is gonna be low now. You know what I mean? He'll have to keep bills paid. Like, it's gonna be a fire sale for Tory Lanez hooks, nigga. And he gonna come up with another pen name to write them. But I think like as far as that Meg shit, like she is a darling of the rap game, and it's just it's wild to see that he's had this much time to gather his belongings and get out. I ain't gonna lie with you. For people, even like it's people still caping for Tory Lanez online, calling Meg a snitch in there, which is ridiculous. Yeah, and I would compare that to like if
that was stupid though.
What's the chick name? What's like if Taylor? Could you imagine if someone shot Taylor Swift? Could you imagine how
like Ed Sheeran
crazy would be? Like if
Ed Sheeran,
come on,
shot Taylor Swift.
Like, it would be on TV every day. And Meg is that big of a star in hip. Well, not that yet, not Taylor Swift, but she's ascending to that stardom in hip hop. Like, she's one of the biggest young stars in the game, and it seems like this kind of gets blown over. Like the fact that a woman got shot by a rapper is not been talked about enough. I don't believe.
He needs to say something. I'm sure there's some type of legal shit going on. I'm sure there's a case with the gun charge. I'm sure there's a lot of reasons why he can't legally say something, but he needs to say, like, there needs to be some damage control. He better spend all of his little quarantine radio money on a PR team working overtime, nigga, to savage his little career that he was just really getting cooking. He had a little TV show on deck and everything with the quarantine radio shit. You can kiss that goodbye. Like, let's be very clear. That's over.
That's over.
It's over. Like, bro, he has to save face and give his side of the story. And what I mean by that is not man, I shot her because she was coming at me with a machete and making up some bullshit. No, this is what happened. I was drunk. I was bullshitting. You know what I'm saying? I apologize. I've reached out to her. Like you need to come at it with that. You need to do something.
I don't
Show
think
some type
Tory
of
Lanez
contrite.
that type. I don't think Tory Lanez that type of guy. He's
Well,
never.
nigga, you need to be
me,
that type of guy if you want a career.
You talking about salvaging his career? I think his personality definitely aligns with all of the allegations. Like,
Yeah,
motherfucker, tell me Tory Lanez shot Meg the Stallion. I'm like, I can see that. Like, I ain't never not once think, well, what are you doing with a strap or what happened?
Yeah.
I can 1,000,000% be like, I can see that. Because Tory Lanez carries himself in that way. I probably could go a step further and say, right now, he is not remorseful. He probably think that he's the victim in this.
That may be the problem. And if he is the victim, then he needs to tell a story. That's all I'm saying.
But nobody want to hear that. Ain't nobody gonna bite.
I agree. They probably wouldn't, but he still needs to say it if there's something to it. If there's nothing to it, then he needs to come out and keep it a stack and own up to his actions. Of course, again, if there's legal shit and he's facing 20 years, then no, don't do that. But I'm saying if you played a role in it and there's no charges being pressed and shit, then you need to keep it a stack and stop having your team put out bogus shit. Like that's what's blowing it.
Well, that's a fact.
If that's happening.
Let's say you're advising Tory Lanez, right? Let's say you're his guy. You are advising him to have a press conference or go on IG and address the situation. Like that's your next step for him.
It depends on what his role was. Let's just say everything she said was 100% spot on, and this nigga literally, with a bodyguard present, pulled out a gun and shot at her, and it hit the ground, and the pellets exploded and hit her foot. Let's say that happened, and she didn't put her hands on him. She wasn't smacking them up. They were just arguing on some regular arguing, because she did say they were arguing.
Right.
So they were just on some regular arguing shit, and he took it too far. Depending on the legalities of the shit going on, if he can come out and give his side of the story and say that is what happened and take ownership, I think that would go a long way. In my opinion, it would go more than not saying nothing, because he getting killed right now.
I think he out of here. I think I like to say nothing. If I was advising him, like I advise him to just go chill out, go take a vacation, go like you don't need to say anything. Let it ride. Like you gotta let this roll over. Like you better hold, well, not hold, but another big 2020 type travesty gonna have to come through for you to get out of this. I would advise him, hey, go lay low. Don't say shit.
All right. We'll see how that works out for him, man. What's next?
Speaking of not saying shit, someone who should have, I feel like, took that advice and ran with it. My man's Master P. Uncle P was pretty peeved. He took to IG here lately and all the social medias, and he was, expressing his concerns about Monica and Kim K and their fights to get his brother Corey Miller, aka C Murder, out of jail. My question to you is this. Is Master P making valid points in his frustrations with how those two, Kim K, Monica, are handling the C Murder situation?
Listen, I understand why P felt the need to vent. I just think his anger was misguided. The reason what got P from out of hiding, well, not hiding, but what got him into Instagram to begin with, to go off, was what C Murder was posting. And C Murder was posting stuff that made it seem like he was in it all by himself, and that Monica had his back, Kim K had his back. And P was like, okay, motherfucker, like, really? He took that personally, and his anger in doing so, Monica caught some strays. Kim K caught a stray or two. And I think he was wrong in that, and he didn't have a point in that. Now, in doing so, that opened the floodgates up for everybody that ever wanted to take a shot at P, to take a shot at P. And that then caused some infighting with family coming out and him saying, you know what? Since I ain't doing nothing for nobody, okay, if y'all say that's the case, then the ATM is cut off. The Master P ATM is cut off. Yeah, everybody cut off now then, since I'm not doing nothing for nobody. Even though I've been here for the last 30 years trying to get this nigga out of a situation I told him not to be in.
He went Denzel Washington training day.
He basically went Denzel. And so I say that to say he was making valid points in regards to the struggles with his family. I think his shots at Monica were misguided, and he ended up apologizing for that, but it was too late. The damage had been done.
Okay. I mean, that's fair as far as you talking about his guidance, but I'm going to go to the stand of like the same thing I said with Tory Lanez. Like, if I'm Master P and I've done my job, I know for a fact from the bottom of my heart, I done my job. I've tried. I told C Murder when we were No Limit Soldiers via the documentary. You guys seen that. It just was on BET. For 20 years, people that have been following it or whatever is going on with it, P has paid for lawyers. Like, he's done his part. And if C Murder doesn't feel that way, like, it's not for Master P to address him on Instagram. Like, that's for C Murder to feel. I think Master P made the mistake of addressing him on Instagram and addressing how C Murder feels on Instagram as opposed to talking to him. And they may not be on talking terms, and I get that. But if you're Master P, then you just got to eat that. Like, you don't get the vent, bro. Like, you and I had this conversation off Mike Saturday. Shout out to Black Pod Collective. We were over there doing some stuff with them. But you don't get to, when you are the breadwinner in the family, like, you don't get to vent. Like, that's not in your job description anymore. You're here to help people. And you may not like it, but making $500 million puts you in that category. And I ain't saying you got to help everybody every time they come around, but there's a certain expectation of you. And one of those expectations, not financially, but I'm not going to bicker with you. I'm not going to bicker with you about things that I know that I've done. And I would assimilate it to like having a drug addict in your family. Like, if I've helped someone in my family that's on drugs and I know like it ain't no helping you, I've done everything I can. I've done as much, put you in rehab, gave you chance after chance. I'm not doing it anymore. If someone come behind me and they want to do something, go ahead. I ain't gonna tell you not to. I ain't gonna warn you because you've seen everything in the history beforehand. Do what you got to do. I have nothing to say about it. Even if they said, oh, I had it hard my whole life, nobody helped me. Cool. It's cool you feel that way, but I know what I've done. So I don't think that Master, you can't do that because you're on another level from people. Now you opening Pandora's box. You get the people saying, oh, well, you didn't give Big Mama this. And like, okay, I'm not doing this with everybody if I'm Master P. So you open Pandora's box when you do that.
Listen, when somebody comes at you and they're telling lies and assassinating your character,
C Murder wasn't telling lies and assassinating his character, though. Relax.
But that's how it felt.
That's cool.
It felt like he was getting stabbed in the back because he's been helping for a majority of the time, even after telling a nigga not to do something. If I tell you not to do something, tell you to follow me, you don't follow me, and you do what I didn't tell you, and you get fucked up, and I still help for decades, and then it comes out like, oh, well, shit, I'm in this by myself. You in it by yourself, my nigga. Some people can't. Everybody can't.
He feels that way, bro. You can't. It's arrogant for Master P to say, well, you can't feel like that because I did this and I did this. Okay.
That's receipts.
You did do that, and you do have receipts, but that doesn't mean that he can't feel that way. Talking about C Murder, like, you still feel like I had to do this by myself, and he did. Like, okay, I can't fight you on that, and I'm not addressing you on Instagram to do so.
But that's where it was addressed to him. We got to stop the whole, man, why you put it on Instagram? Nigga, why did C Murder put it on Instagram?
Because he in
nigga,
jail.
Tell that to the diary,
because he's in jail. That's
Write it in your diary, bro. Tell your cellmate, bro.
He's in jail. So he ain't got nobody else to talk to.
Call Monica, bro.
If I'm P, you know what? Y'all want to comment about this C Murder stuff? Cool. Well, let me tell you about my noodles. Let me tell you about these goddamn rap snacks. Let me tell you
that'll
about
really
these
help.
Mignottes.
Try to sell something where people get your brother out.
Absolutely. Because I don't have anything to do with that anymore. I've done my part for 20 years in. Whatever he's saying, whatever Monica's doing, whatever Kim K is doing, I wish all of y'all the best. But me, I got my own shit going on.
That's not going to look good to the public.
Don't matter how it looks.
No,
I've done
the public.
My part. I've been doing my part for 20 years. I don't care how it looks.
No, the public is who you're selling your noodles to. So if you want the public to understand what shit. No,
they're not. This tagline down at the bottom,
and they're not going to if they think that you did your brother wrong. That's my point. You can't. People need to know the truth. That's all. Whatever the truth is.
My point, you're absolutely right. You're not gonna get the truth out bickering and going back and forth with a nigga who was first in jail, then going back and forth with the people who were trying to help him, then going back and forth with your family. You look even worse now. So if you wasn't selling noodles beforehand, you damn sure ain't selling them now that they know Big Mama house got repossessed and was burnt down and like all of that shit. Like when you open and when you start that comment thread, you being Master P is just like when you in boxing, the champ get hit. Oh man, I staggered him. I staggered the great Mike Tyson. Now you know you can affect me. Now you know I hear what you're saying, and now you finna bring everything out that you think gonna hurt my feelings. Even though you know damn well I paid your rent the last 12 years, them 5 after that you mad about that, you gonna tell everybody about. Nah, you
Yeah,
can't open yourself up for that.
the family coming out, that looked crazy. I'm not in the know, but it seemed, the way that they were talking, it seemed like
Nuts.
somebody hearing no for the first time. I'm gonna come
Absolutely.
clean. It came off as somebody being told no for the first time. That, if I'm gonna keep it just 1,000, that's not no bias. That's just how it seemed, and that's the perception from my end. Maybe there's people like, damn, P, you didn't do it. So maybe it's people that see it another way. But I just think that it's very interesting that people are now coming out of the floodgate. Soldier Slim's sister came out and snapped and actually claimed that P put the hit on Soldier Slim, which I was like, oh, what
See,
the fuck?
See, that's what,
What?
and I'm not excusing her saying that, but that's what happened when you start rolling in the mud with pigs, dude. You get dirty too. All the shit now comes out because the one simple statement that Master P said, he could have kept himself. I did everything I could. Okay, if you know you did everything you could from the bottom of your heart, and I'm not saying that you didn't, you ain't got to tell nobody that. I know I did everything I could. I'm good with it. I ain't got to
It's
sit here and
it's
tell
tough
niggas
when
what
the
I did.
world watching. It's
It
tough.
is. It's hard, but it's hard making $500 million and being that nigga, dude. All of those things come
Is
with
it?
it, in my opinion. Yeah,
That's rough.
absolutely. Nigga. Who we win?
Moving
What we
on,
got
man.
next? That was a good one.
Man, yeah, no, P got it. Somebody got to take P phone though, man. He was going a little too hard. I'm gonna keep
P
it
needs
100.
some advice. He be trying to advise these young rappers and shit on how to get it in the game. P need like
Okay.
advice, like on how to maneuver, just period. Like
Yeah,
as a famous person. Like
I
he
can
been
see that.
fucking up since ever since Beats by the Pound and that documentary has been all like, come
It
on,
was
bro, what you
touchy.
doing? What you doing, man? Like, he ain't made
Yeah.
one good move since he let go of Beats by the Pound. I can say that.
Stop. Get the
He
fuck
ain't
out
made
of here.
one good move since he let go of Beats by the Pound. Tell me which one it was.
Nigga, Romeo went 4 times platinum. What are you talking
It
about?
was luck. He said on the documentary, I didn't want Warmer to rap. I just came back. The nigga was around the studio. He had the song when I came
Nigga
back.
said it was luck.
It was luck.
On
Absolutely.
that, what we not gonna do is
He
is
ain't put in
cheat.
that Bow Wow. Romeo didn't put in that Bow Wow work. He ain't put in that Chad Moss work, nigga.
Man, moving on, man. 50 Cent, he lost his long time lawsuit battle with Rick Ross. It was a $2 million lawsuit over Ross's use of the In the Club instrumental. If y'all remember, a couple of years ago, Renzel's remixes mixtape came out, found Ross rapping over jack beats, one of which was the aforementioned In the Club. In the lawsuit, though, even though he lost, the reason he lost was because 50 Cent does not own the rights to In the Club. He does not own the rights to a lot of music from that time. It is actually owned by Shady/Aftermath. My question, are you surprised that 50 doesn't own the rights to In the Club?
No. And the reason being, I've always been in the minority and skeptical of that $400 million vitamin water Coke deal. I
Yeah.
didn't think that he got that amount of money there. 50 is a good businessman. I listened to his business book here recently. We discussed it here.
Yeah.
Having the masters to In the Club, that's something different though. That ain't no we gonna renegotiate and like we once you get this like nah, like that's a major record. And Shady Aftermath, they know what they doing when it comes to major records. I don't ever see him getting any of that material back. So I do think it's funny that he thought that he would be able to pull this off on Rick Ross' team. Like 50 has this thing where he think that him and Ross ain't on the same level, and they are. They
Yeah.
absolutely are. And Rick Ross has continually showed him this ever since those two got into beef. And I love it. I'm here for all the 50 Rick Ross beef, but I'm definitely not surprised that he didn't own the masters to that song. If you want some good, fun, entertaining laughter, go to Rick Ross IG him listening to old 50 Cent songs.
That's just hilarious.
My God, that's funny, dude.
It's funny.
Oh my God, that's funny. You got to check
Listen,
that out.
I'm not surprised that 50 doesn't own the rights to In the Club. I am surprised that he didn't know that he didn't own the rights to In the Club,
You don't think he
because
knew?
he couldn't have, because he wouldn't have went through this 4-year long lawsuit. You don't do that not knowing that you don't own that shit. You think
Yeah, you do.
you have some piece of that.
He thought he was going to
What?
big boy. He thought he was going to big boy Ross.
No.
He thought he was going to big boy.
50 too smart of a businessman for that, bro. No.
Oh, you thought that he's surprised by this news?
Yes, I do. I think he thought he knew that. Excuse me. I think he thought that he owned enough of it to do this, and to find out that he doesn't own any of it is a surprise to him and us. Even though, again, I'm actually not that surprised, because look, 50. And you mentioned the book, because like I said, I listened to the book as well, and he details some of his deals in the book, and he talks about things in specific order. And he says he took a smaller deal to go with Shady and Aftermath so that he could be next to Eminem and Dr. Dre. And he figured that the long-term gain from that will be bigger than the short-term bag from signing with another label. So it's not surprising that he took the L on owning the masters to a couple of those records to get that long-term stand next to the most famous producer of all time and arguably one of the most famous rappers of all time. I'll take that L to stand next to these two, because the perception will be that I'm on their level. So I get that part, and I understand why he doesn't own the rights. I do think it's very interesting, though, that when you start to peel back the layers on 50, whether it was him going to court for, the bankruptcy shit or whatever, and it turned out he didn't really own a lot of the cars and stuff that he said he owned, and he owed a lot of stuff. Like, you start to peel back the layers, and then, I've said this on the show before, how it really went down with the vitamin water deal. You start to peel back the layers, and he's starting to look like the Wizard of Oz. Not to say that there's nothing behind the curtain, but it's not as big and bad as you once thought it was. It's not the $400 million deal. It's not the I own this, I own that. And it's more perception than anything.
People used to put 50 on the level with Jay-Z
and Puff. Yeah, no.
It was fucking amazing nowadays.
He did a good job to do it. He did a good job of selling that, though.
The movies may get him where he want to be as far as, the movies and TV production deals.
That's
gonna bump him up. But yeah, like being mentioned in the same name with those two guys, Wales, was absolutely fucking crazy.
It's premature.
But I'm premature. Here. I am here 100% for that 50 Rick Ross though. Rick Ross, listening, go watch that, dude. That is fucking great.
Yeah, no, he said because real quick, the problem is that BMF show is in the making, and he's more than likely going to want that BMF song in some shape, form, or fashion. And Ross knows this, because he knows in order to have a BMF TV show, you're going to need that BMF song to make it all the way legitimate. As a matter of fact, if that was anybody but Ross's song, the deal would have already been done by now, and that would have been a soundtrack to the show.
So how do you think that plays out? You think 50 will get the song?
No, I don't. His pride, bro, he's too prideful, bro. He's not doing that. Ross, and so is Ross. And Ross knows he has leverage. So Ross is sitting on Instagram like, yeah, I'll do a deal with 50 for the song, but he gotta go on Instagram and hold up this Bel Air, and he gotta hold up a 12-piece all flats from Wingstop, and he gotta say these the best wings of all time, and he's gotta say this is the best champagne of all time. Bro, 50's not doing that, bro. He's not doing that.
50 will find out a way.
No, he's not, bro. He's not doing it.
He'll find out a way to do it to make it funny. I think it'll happen, though. I think that both of those guys realize how much the culture needs that song to go with that show. And they are going to be petty in getting to the bottom of it. But it'll get resolved. I think it'll get resolved. He'll use a song. What's going to happen is 50 going to have some people reach out, and Ross is going to make a astronomical request as far as how much he wants for that song. And then I think 50 will let him sit on that for a while, and then he'll come back with another request, and it's gonna be some noise. It ain't gonna be the way you say.
He wants to embarrass him. Have you seen Rick Ross's house? He doesn't give a shit about that little money he can make off of that song. He wants to embarrass.
He gonna make it big money.
No, bruh. He wants to clown 50. He wants to make 50 look stupid. He doesn't care about that shit.
I don't know, man. The check big enough. He gonna
I'm
put a
okay.
number out here to make the check big enough. He ain't gonna care about the embarrassment. That's
So
what
that
I'm
he
saying.
can sit and say, "Man, I made 50. Pay me 10 million for the song." Like, bro, either way, he's going to
Yeah,
shot. Nah, he gonna make it
yeah.
seem like he the boss nigga and 50 the clown. He gonna do it. He gonna find a way to do that. So
Oh,
50
that's gonna
can't,
happen. That's
bro.
gonna
50.
happen anyway. 50 ain't gonna
No,
avoid that.
look at who we're talking. We're talking about 50 Cent, bro. Mr. 48 Laws of Power. That's not war.
Mm,
You don't negotiate with a
he-
nigga that you don't fuck with.
that's not
He
true.
lives and dies by that shit, bro.
He ain't in a position of power not to though.
He doesn't care. He's still not finna
He
do it.
does care because he needs it for his show. That's what I'm
He'll
saying.
have
Like
Joe
it's
sing
going
another
to
hook.
happen. Nah, that absolutely ain't gonna happen.
This is a
Is that who
BMF
that is on
town.
Power? Joe.
Yeah.
Oh wow, I never knew that.
Wow.
Interesting.
This is
All
a BMF
righty.
town.
Lastly, before we get out of here to our review for Nas's King's Disease, Travis Scott, your man's. It came out over since the last time that we recorded. There was a reference track of Sci-Hi, the Prince, your other man's, doing some off Astro World, doing songs off Astro World. My question to you, hearing these reference tracks and knowing that Travis Scott gets his ideas from Sci-Hi and the likes, does this change your perspective of Travis Scott?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And the song in question that leaked was Sicko Mode, which was the biggest record off of that album, featuring Sway Lee and Drake. And look, it was one bar. You know what I'm saying? Like
A reference track was one bar?
it was like one or two bars that somebody leaked. You know how people be leaking shit and they act like they was in the studio with the phone up their ass, had to hurry up and cut it off. Well, who knows? Why you leak 4 seconds of a reference track? I don't know. But it was a bar on there. And here's the thing, bro. Like, I look at Travis Scott as a performer and as an entertainer and a producer, much like a Kanye West or like a Dr. Dre or a Puff. Those fit the criteria for all of them, with the exception of Dr. Dre. He's not the biggest performer, but he's a producer and kind of a cultivator of music. Travis Scott's the same way. That's how we got into camp with Kanye to begin with, was producing. So Travis Scott's not known for bars. Like, he's not known for, lyrical ability. Sci-Hi the Prince is known for lyrical ability, but he's not known for putting together records and albums. So you take the two, and of course it's going to work. Travis Scott has a front row seat to see how that Sci-Hi pen works for Kanye. You think that collaboration not going down in Travis Scott room? Like, they asked Sci-Hi about what you think about writing for Kanye and shit. He said, bro, when you get to a certain level, you're competing against, when you get on Billboard and you're famous, and you're competing against Beyonce, Taylor Swift, Ed Sheeran. You're competing against big dogs. They have teams of people in the studio with them. You think you and your engineer are going to beat Adele and her team? Nigga, no, that's not realistic. It's not how it works. So people may be a little disappointed. Like, oh, my favorite rapper, he didn't write that bar? Oh, fuck. No, nigga, most people who get to that level, it's a collaborative effort because you have to maintain that level of status, and you can't compete with everybody else winning Grammys and shit if it's just you and your producer homeboy that you grew up with. It's not how it works. So I don't look at him differently. If anybody, I look at Sci-Hi with more respect, honestly.
Interesting. You look at Sci-Hi with more respect because you think he came up with Sicko Mode?
If he wrote on that, he wrote on like The Life of Pablo, Kids See Ghost, Yay, Yeezus. Like, he's written a lot on a lot of those projects, and it gives me more respect for him and the versatility of him, because I'm not listening to those like, oh yeah, Sci-Hi clearly wrote that. Like, no, that shit sounds different. It's all different styles, and Travis Scott got the auto tune and all this extra shit. So to turn around and write some Kanye shit, some bars, and then to turn around and write some auto tune Travis Scott vibe shit, that's a respectable play for Sci-Hi. I look at him with more respect, honestly, more than I look down on Travis Scott. Like, I didn't look at him for bars anyway.
Yeah, I don't look down on Travis Scott for this at all. Like you say, I don't look at him for bars. I think that there's a different level of artistry that comes into being a superstar. And there are not a lot of rappers that reach that level. Kanye West, Drake, Travis Scott is aspiring to be there, I think
Yeah.
those guys are that lines up
Hove
100. No,
to a certain extent.
well, I don't think that he has the songs that are
The
big
crossover
enough.
joints.
Exactly. And
I
that was
got
going to
you.
get to my point.
Yeah.
Because what you said, I think Hove is a traditionalist, and he probably feels like if this comes out like 444, for example, that was him and his producer. That's
That's
me
true.
and no ID and me sitting in the room with you and let's do this.
That's true.
Hove, that's why Hove has never had a sicko mode though. That's like why Hove doesn't do God's plans.
That's fair.
Like God's plans is when me and 30 motherfuckers in here that know the hottest
Relax.
slang.
Relax. Let's not be disrespectful
It's
though.
not even a diss though,
Let's not do
because
that.
like what you say, like if I'm Drake and I know that I need a God's plan to make this Nike deal go through, I want 30 of the best motherfuckers in here. I want all y'all, like everybody, nigga. Do y'all got water in the back? Like everybody, come on in, dude. Because like you said, nigga, these songs are dependent upon like Adidas deals. These songs are dependent upon me being like the Raptors, the spokesperson, me having my own private jet. So hell no, I'm not going in here with just 40 and writing this shit, nigga. And I think that Travis Scott is trying to get on the same level. Rappers traditionally, they don't make it to that level. Like, so I'm not giving, and when we start talking about the passes, I'm not giving a rapper those passes of having 30 people in the room because you're not trying to get Adidas. Well, you may try to be, but you're not getting Adidas deals like Drake's.
You're not in them
going
rooms.
you're not going to Apple and them being like, hey, we need a song for the new 2K or whatever it may be. It's not happening.
Right.
So I do it. That was a bad example because 2K have lesser artists, but you're not dealing direct deals with Apple, is my point. So I give the benefit of the doubt to people like a Travis Scott because I can clearly see that's where he's aspiring to be. And it does show a respect level that Sci-Hi is in those rooms when people are making those albums, whether it's Watch the Throne, whether it's Yeezus or whether it's this Astro World, which are three of the best albums that come out of this generation. So that goes a long way for Sci-Hi. But yeah, I agree with you. I don't take anything away from Travis Scott because I see what he's trying to be.
And listen,
and that's
that Sci-Hi resume is crazy.
That's sick.
Like he in them rooms, he see what it do. He's living comfortably. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I would love to ask Sci-Hi how comfortable he really is being the guy behind the guy, and how bad he actually wants to be the guy. I think that's interesting. Or is it a situation where he knows he couldn't be the guy? Travis Scott is 28, 29. He's kind of he's on Fortnite and shit. Like, what's Sci-Hi look like doing that shit, bro? Like, that ain't his shit.
There's almost like the job requirement for that, in my opinion. So, like, take a guy like Sci-Hi. I can't be super famous because part of what makes me rich or cold, like, I got to be out in the streets amongst people who are talking and got this verbiage that's kind of up to date. The reason Kanye needs me or Travis Scott needs me because they can't go hang out with a nigga that just went to Quick Trip and we just seen niggas doing donuts on Panola. Like, they can't do that. But Sci-Hi can still do that. And then, like you said, still go to those rooms and be like, nah, they ain't saying it like that, bro. They saying it this way in the streets. That way, when that new Drake come out, it's like, okay. He up to date with what's going on. I think it's what keeps them hot. So Sci-Hi, I think he is one of the few that he's just famous enough where he getting respect when he go out, people know who he is, but he's not too famous where he can't be out, which is what those guys are looking for when they go to somebody like Sci-Hi.
I agree. And it was a real interesting, I forgot what interview that was, but Sci-Hi gave like what it's like in the room with Kanye and putting the songs together. It's not as cut and dry as you would think. It's not, let me write 16 on this loose leaf notebook and then hand it to Ye and then it's not like that. Like when people think ghostwrite, they think you just, hey nigga, here go my BlackBerry, nigga, just read it off of this, nigga. Like it's not like that. It's more like it's a line here, it's a cadence, and the way you said it here, hold out the last syllable on each bar right here. It's more like that.
Terminology, phrasing, all of that shit. What type of flow you gonna use?
All of that. It's all. He said the nigga delivering the food could come in with some white Balenciagas on, and Ye will look and be like, white Balenciaga. And then they'll be okay, like let's go, let's run with something like he looks at inspiration from everywhere. It's not like, hey man, write me this. It's not quite like that. Yeah. But it's interesting.
It's a collaborative effort. That's right. That's how I would expect artists to work anyway.
Hey man, let's talk about this Nas King's Disease album. It is the album with Nas and producer Hit Boy. It came out last Friday. We have 13 tracks. We're going to get into what we thought about it, our highlights, our lowlights, and we're going to give a rating. Y'all know how we get down. First things first, when you heard about the album was on the way, what were your initial thoughts?
Nas album done. I thought that we were finally gonna get that DJ Khaled album that was mentioned 6 years ago. No, I was excited. People try to put me as a Nas hater, which I am
You are.
not. I am not. I just put him in his just do box. But I'm always excited to hear a spitter like Nas, especially with someone like Hit Boy who has credited hits. One of the biggest knocks on Nas's career is, his selection of beats. So I was looking forward to see what Hit Boy could actually do for a legend like Nas, and seeing what his what his talking points would be, what he had to say. So I was 100% looking forward to this when he said it was around the corner and made the announcement. What about you?
Yeah, this is his 12th album, man. I was excited, especially hearing he's working with Hit Boy. I was just excited when I heard last year he was working with Kanye. It was like, okay, finally he's going to get some top shelf.
Down.
No, not that album. I wasn't mad at that album. I wasn't, but I get why people didn't like it though. Look, you're getting to work with top shelf production. That's all people have ever asked. Please, Nas, just get in a room with a producer, lock yourself in there for a week, and don't listen to shit else or anybody else coming through with that bullshit. Just lock yourself in, please. Or an executive producer at least, you know what I'm saying? And he gave us that for the second time in a row. I was just getting ready to ask you, do you think the knock on his beats was legitimate? Or do you think that's been overstated?
I think it's been kind of overstated, but I'm one of the people also though that feels like J. Cole has sufficient beats for his flow. Like y'all always tell me J. Cole needs to step outside. I think that Nas and J. Cole pick fitting beats, like it fits their style, because you don't want both of those guys are storytellers, and you don't want to overpower their words. Nas is a soft-spoken cat, so he got to take obscure beats and different things in order to get his point across. So I'm not mad at Nas's beat selection. I could see what people will be bored by it, especially people that weren't from New York. But I'm not mad at it. I think it's fitting. I would never like, shorty, what's your price? God. Like I would never expect to hear him on that ever again. Nor did I expect to hear him on that. That was one of the few times I feel like he had just tried to do what people were wanting him to do, and it didn't work.
That was people wanting him to be commercial. That's different from having good production, though.
Yeah,
being commercial is that was being commercial and trying to cross over. That shit was garbage. The production, I just think people wanted him to have production with more layers to it. That's all, and have it to where
was like, when it No ID and like when it all the heavy hitters. That was the thing about his first album. It was like
that was 94 the best though.
Producers.
Yeah. It's 2020. Like, if you got to go back to 94 for when he locked himself in,
he picked good beats was 94.
Yeah, like that's rough. But I don't. You're right though. I don't think they've just been atrocious. I think people just want him to take it a little more seriously. Like, bro, like just lock in. Like, it's okay. You got all these connections. You're Nas, nigga. You're a hip hop Hall of Famer. Call Pharrell. Call Justice League. Call, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just
anybody will do a beat for Nas. Anybody.
Exactly. So you have no excuse to have whack. It's 2020. Any rapper out right now has no excuse to have whack production. Period. Much less the God's son, dude. Like, what are you doing? So I understand the knocks. It's just that people are more disappointed than anything. Same thing with J. Cole, bro.
No,
your biggest hit came from T-, bro. It didn't come from some shit you did. It didn't.
True.
No, his biggest hit.
No Role Models is his biggest hit.
Man, fuck no. Stop.
Yes, it is.
Stop.
What are you saying his biggest hit is?
The one that came out
when he Middle Child.
Middle Child. That is his biggest hit.
Numbers wise, that's true.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So,
but is that the song that you know J. Cole for?
That's the one that got him performing at the All-Star game.
That's not what I asked you.
He's not performing no bullshit.
J. Cole can't go get T- and do an album though.
Yeah, I think he could though.
Absolutely not.
He did. You just said
it's not J. Cole.
You like the Lion King on Ice. He did that.
Yeah, I like the beats, but you can't do a whole project. Like,
Shit.
I don't think the expectation would be fair for a nigga like, well, Nas has done it now that he's 50 and working with Hit Boy, but it wasn't even a knock. He's just older. He can try more stuff. Like, but J. Cole can't go do a whole album with a nigga like Alchemist or a fucking Hit Boy, like or T Minus. Like it won't work because it's not J. Cole. Like you need those songs where J. Cole produced it and it felt like some shit that he did in his closet. Like you need that to complete a J. Cole album. That's part of the stick.
He can put his touch on some shit. He can put his touch on some songs.
Okay.
Because technically he co-produced that Lion King on Ice. So that's like a good balance.
That's fair.
And Nas, to be fair, is not a producer. So he's 100% reliant on what the producers bring to the table, to be fair. But I will say, like, looking forward to this album, I was excited about it. I was hoping it wasn't going to be another Nasir, and the fact that it was going to be like an EP, like 6 songs. Like, no, nigga, give a full project. And he did. He hit the sweet spot at 13. Okay, cool. Let me get that.
Minutes.
Yeah,
38 minutes to 42 minutes is right there where it need to be.
And I'm glad you mentioned that because that goes into my initial reaction when I listened to it. I felt like I saw or heard Hit Boy's fingerprints on it in terms of it's more of a 2020 version of Nas. There's a couple joints on here that are under 2 minutes. There's a couple of joints on here that are short, 1.5 verses. They're not 4-minute long songs. Like people aren't doing that shit no more. It's not 2001. You don't have to come in and do 3/16s and 4 hooks. No, nigga. Hit Boy was like, look, this is what we're going to do. A couple of these joints going to be 1 minute and 45 seconds, bro. Like, just work with me. I'm going to call up some of my people that some of the young niggas listening to. Young niggas rocking with Dirk right now. Let me call up Dirk. He hot. Young niggas rocking with Don Toliver over there with Travis Scott and them. Let me call him up. I'm going to get him on your shit. The young niggas in New York fucking with 504 and them. Let me get him on here. Like, I felt like he called plays and actually produced it. And I felt like there was a collaborative effort when they did it, as opposed to just Nas just rapping over some beats with no direction or anything. I think he took direction, and kudos to Nas for doing that because he could have been the old 50-year-old legend. Like, nigga, I ain't doing that shit. Who? Don who? Nah, I'm good. I don't want no niggas harming. I don't want no auto-tune on my shit. I'm good. Like, he could have been that guy, but he wasn't, and he took his advice, and I think, in my opinion, it worked. What did you think when you first heard it?
He addressed that later in the album when he was like, you want old verses, you go get old Clue tapes. Like, I've been murdering shit for 20 years. And I agree in the sense that, like, it was fresh. It wasn't like the Kanye Nas where it felt like it was just meshed together. That seemed like it was some processed shit.
Let's not be disrespectful, though.
This was like some fresh food. This was like fresh shit. You was like, oh, okay, like you said, me reading the track list and actually hearing it play out with 2 totally different experiences. You go from a place where you're like, Dirk, Tom, like, what are you doing? Like, why are these people on Nas's CD?
Really? That's how you feel?
Absolutely. You can only
I like that.
I didn't feel like that there's anything that Dirk could add to a Nas song before I listened to the Dirk and Nas song and was thoroughly impressed by what Dirk added to a Nas song. It was great, and I attribute that to Nas being open-minded and also Hit Boy calling the plays, like you said. People bring their best out when they come to a Nas track other than this Foxy Brown track, which we'll get to later. But with that being said, my initial reaction, as always, Nas was rapping his ass off. Hit Boy, a great addition to it, but I was so surprised at how much the features worked. All of them, with the exception of the Firm Point, but all of the features worked. Everything sounded like it should have sounded with Nas and Dirk, or with Nas and Big Sean and Don Toliver. Like, it was very cohesive. Like, the feel from the moment that you were in there is like a older, like you felt like you was hopping in the Lexus with Nas and he riding you around Queens telling you about Queensbridge. That shit was fire.
Yeah, and listen, when we talk about production and stuff, like, I don't need Mike Will on here with the 808s blasting and Nas trying to keep up with nigga fucking Metro Boomin and shit. Like, that's not what I'm referring to when I talk of good production. I think when I listen to it, the production, and we'll get to kind of the highlights in a second, but I think they worked so well together that, like it was what I had envisioned it. When I saw the features, I was excited. I was like, okay, like it wasn't your
Because you a hype
typical.
beast. You a hype beast.
No,
Yeah.
I like to hear different people on different songs with each other that may not have worked together, because that's when you can stretch kind of your abilities and get out of your comfort zone, man. Like don't Nas. I don't need AZ on every song. Like I don't
I
need
needed
your
another
artist.
AZ feature.
AZ
I
the shit
needed
though. Don't get it twisted though.
facts.
Yeah, AZ that nigga though. But like I don't need the usual suspects 1 through 13. Like let's switch it up a little bit, dog. Like let's get Anderson .Paak on here from the West Coast to give some West Coast vibe on here. Let's get Big Sean. I don't think Nas and Big Sean have worked together before. I may be wrong on that. I don't know. Like let's get Don Toliver on here. Let's get somebody from the younger generation without forcing Nas to sound young. You know what I'm saying? Like Nas went on here auto-tuning and shit, thank God. Like what we kind of accused Fab of doing on his last project. Nas didn't go that route. Like he went on here talking young nigga shit.
That's the scary thing about this project for me when I read the features and listening to a Fab project, like man, he trying to pull a Fabulous. And Nas is obviously did a much better job, and I think that being an older act, you always got to be cognizant of, how much influence a Dirk is going to have on a song and not get you too out of pocket.
That's a fact.
And I think he stayed in his pocket and it sounded great together. I agree with that. Are we going to go ahead?
Yeah, no, what worked? What were some of the highlights? Maybe a joint that you rocked with, or give me 3 joints that you rocked with, and what overall worked on the album.
The sound of it worked. Like I said, Hit Boy did a great job of meshing the songs together. Even the transitions were going from song to song. Felt like, you were riding on a cool summer New York day with Nas in a nice whip, and he was telling you about how he's Nas. I'm old head now, just some shit that I do. So that felt dope. Even the title, The King's Disease, just like playing off of that on each song. The shit was fire. I'm picking out songs that I like the best as I pull it up here. Car 85 with Charlie Wilson, fire. That was the first song as I turned it on and stepped away from it for a minute that I found in my head, like I couldn't, get it out of my head, that Car 85. And then to go with another one, the song with Anderson .Paak, All Bad. That might be my favorite song on the CD. We would listen to it this weekend as we were doing stuff. That's banging, that All Bad. And I like the 10 points. I didn't really like 10 points at first, but I do like the message and what he's saying on 10 points. Nas done a great job of maturing his raps and what he talks about, but still being Nas. He's done a perfect job at that. So those would be the songs that stood out to me the most. And what worked the most for me, like I said, was the features, man. Big Sean, Don Toliver, Dirk, Anderson .Paak, Brucey B, AZ, I'm not a big ASAP Ferg fan at all. Love the song with him and Fabio Foreign. Like that song, that shit fire. And it all made sense and meshed together. So what stuck out to me with those songs and the features. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I can't give Hit Boy enough credit. Just to give some context, Hit Boy's the guy behind Niggas in Paris, Click, Backseat Freestyle with Kendrick Lamar, Trophies with Drake. Like he got bangers without question. I didn't know if he'd be able to pull off an entire project with somebody of Nas's stature. And he completely did it. He knocked it out of the park. As a matter of fact, it needs to be more people reaching out to him to do bodies of work like this. I think the price just went up on that Hit Boy product, in my opinion. And it shows how talented of a producer he is. Not a beat maker, but a producer. So I got to give respect where respect is due. Shout out to Hit Boy for coming through and doing what a lot of people would consider a better job than Kanye did, honestly.
Absolutely.
Now, we're not going to be disrespectful.
It's not even close.
Now, joints that I rock with, I love The Cure. That shit is hard. Matter of fact, I love the second half of the album. It's super tough to me. I think it picks up steam, the further along it goes. I like 10 Points as well. And I think All Bad with Anderson .Paak. I know you said it, but I got to say, that's my favorite song on here. Like, when I got to that, nigga, point me to the merch, nigga, ASAP, nigga. Like, where is the merch link? Link me for the merch. It's getting copped after I heard that Anderson .Paak, and I ran it back about 3-4 times. And I'm not even the biggest Pac fan.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
I don't really like Anderson .Paak like that.
Beast. That's crazy to
He
say.
puts a good show, but I'm cool on him.
He's a talented artist. Were you surprised at the transparency that Nas showed on that All Bad song? The verse, like talking about dealing with the young chicks to deal with Future and Drake.
He touched on that too.
Yeah.
He touched on that on Breakfast Club, his first Breakfast Club interview ever, which was interesting. Yeah, people didn't realize he had never been on there. He talked about that because Yee, playing her role on the show, asked on the relationship type questions and shit, and he was like, "Yeah, man, I'm dealing with these girls, and they're talking about like a young rapper that I wasn't even up on that they had been dealing with." And I'm like, "Man, what I'm dealing with? We dealing with the same?" Be like, "What the fuck?" So he was kind of just tripping off of that shit. Like he was tripping. He was just kind of having some fun with it, man. He wasn't super uptight. Y'all know how Nas is. Nas be reserved and shit.
That's true. I do want to address. I have an alternate theory for the whole Jay-Z dropping every time that Nas drops.
Yeah.
That was out there a lot. They asked him about that. I gotta watch the video now. I personally think that Jay is trying to help him out. Like, what more attention can you gather than dropping on the same day with Jay-Z? And then they were showing the rundown. Some of them were, projects to be projects. But here lately, when I'm dropping the Carters on the same day, like that's getting traction. Like if shit moving, if I'm dropping, and you be happy that niggas said, I promise you, man, I think he helping him out, man. Even here with this, Nas dropping, let me give him a little boost. It's been happening since Ether. The only like if you listen to Jay's theory behind Takeover, is just that Nas was dormant. Like nigga, the way you at, nigga, you sitting up in the house, nigga. Come get some of this smoke, nigga. And then that guy Ether, and then you had the rivalry from there. But if you go back to the very beginning of the rivalry, it all stems from Jay-Z just like, hey, my nigga, are you awoke? Come on, man. Let's get some shit going, bro. You sleep.
Yeah, Nas chalked it up to a coincidence. He didn't really look too deep into it. Because honestly, some of those are reaches. Like Nas dropped Nasir and Jay dropped the Lion King soundtrack. Stop.
That's what that's not a coincidence though.
Nigga, that's a Beyonce project, nigga. Like, stop. Look, it's not.
Jay-Z clearly manages Beyonce. You're the last person that doesn't know that. So nigga, this is not a coincidence if it go all the way back to like 2005. Like this happened like calculated consistently. Like it's happened 8 times.
Yeah, it's not a hell of a coincidence. If it is, it's a hell of a coincidence. That's a fact.
I can't believe Charlamagne didn't press him on that. Like a coincidence.
No, they ran it down. They ran down the joints and everything.
And he stuck to the coincidence answer?
Yeah.
That's horse shit.
Yeah.
That is
he wasn't really studying it. I don't know.
As he wouldn't be. It's Jay-Z. What can he do? That's what he should have said. It's Jay-Z. What the fuck I'm supposed to do?
He said they have the same kind of work schedule. He kind of chalked it up to that.
This last Jay-Z, they 100% don't think alike. And this last Jay-Z and for real was not based off a work schedule. This was like, hey, for real, you got something to tuck? I got this old ass verse that throw something on here, just send me some shit on the iPhone. I'll make it work.
What didn't work for you on the album?
Nas did sound a little dated. I do like his flow, but I do think that, like, you could tell that he was an older rapper. Some guys, I mean, it's just, and I ain't even talking about subject matter. It was just like some pockets that I just didn't feel like he was comfortable in working with Hit Boy. So he kind of sounded a little dated on some stuff. I could tell I was listening to, an older rapper. A song specifically that didn't work, I really didn't like Blue Benz. And the only reason, I really didn't like Blue Benz. And the reason being the beat that they played at the very beginning of it before the song started. I wanted to hear Nas on that as opposed to the one that was sped up and a little bit faster. So that's me nitpicking if I had to pick on that. But Blue Benz was just one song I say that really just it wasn't great for me. What about you? Didn't you like about it?
No, there's a couple. I didn't like Car 85. I didn't like it. No, that's some slaw.
Ripping that.
That's some slaw.
Car 85.
I feel like if I lived in New York and took taxi cabs and shit, then it would resonate more with me. But it didn't resonate with me. I think that was for the Queens.
That wasn't even about. I mean, that's a story about like growing up in the hood though. Like,
but what was that about? Like a trolley car or something? I don't fucking know. Like, was it a train?
No. Well, I don't know. I guess it's a subway up there.
Nah, I thought it was a taxi cab.
Well, I mean, it may be that pay for a ride. Like they get them like phantom taxis or whatever the fuck they call it. I seen it on the wire. You just rent a car for the day and like you're just riding around the hood.
Somebody in New York,
85.
please let us know what the fuck is car 85 mean? Please, I ain't got a clue. And you see that when
Yes.
neither one of us know. We
But
drive.
the song on the song, I think, is just like addressing like New York, like New York time. Like we riding, this New York vibes. Let's get it. I like that.
And I
Charlie
didn't like
Wilson
Ultra
bodied
Black.
it, too.
I didn't like that.
Yeah, that
That's
one was
slaw.
I had to like it because of just the context.
Sure.
But
The
I
message.
let it ride. I let it ride because of the context.
I'm here for the message, but the song itself reminded me of Nas that we be like, hey man, quit picking them whack ass beats. Like that was a regular Nas song right there, and I wasn't looking for that. I was looking for Nas and Hit Boy. The Firm song was cool. I can listen to it, but it was just some little cool.
They should have cut Foxy Brown out for them. And Cormega, if we're keeping it 1,000, Cormega and Foxy Brown should have been on there. AZ murdered that song and deserved another verse or another Nas verse. Like you can't bookend that AZ verse with Cormega and is it Cormega? Am I saying the right person? Jungle, what's the nigga name?
It's Cormega, man. That's funny as fuck.
You can't bookend that AZ verse with Foxy Brown and like Cormega. You can't do that.
Yeah, they were dumb rusty.
That nigga AZ was spitting head flow.
And my last minor complaint, because it's really not that big of a deal, but Fabio Foreign verse was terrible.
No, he ripped that.
Man, that nigga wasn't talking about
nothing.
And that song
was you like hard. The drill shit. You like the drill shit.
That wasn't the drill's beat, though. So I like
his drill flow.
Yeah, that shit was whack, bro.
He ripped that.
There's so many New York niggas he could have got on there that would have bought. ASAP Rocky would have done better than that. He should have just got Rocky and Ferg. They would have ate that. I like Ferg.
There was one part that stood out. I can't remember. I was like, okay, you going in.
Next time you listen to that picture, instead of Fabio on there blowing it, picture Nicki Minaj on that. She would have snapped on that beat right there. Man, she would have ripped it.
They got history though.
Yeah, I know that it wouldn't have worked, but but she would have talked her shit on there. He needed somebody else from New York to talk their shit on that. Fabio wasn't talking about nothing. He let the hood down with that.
He was ripping that.
What rating, man, out of 5 reels, what would you give it? I know we both liked it, but at the end of the day, what are you gonna call it?
I got a strong 3.5. Strong 3.5, man.
Banging. Okay.
It is banging. It's a banging Nas album. At this point in his career, hooking over Hit Boy, going over all the things that we liked and highlighted of it. It's a strong banging album. What's your rating for it?
I like it a little more than that. I'm gonna go 4 reels. It's fire. This is a good project, bro. And Nas still got a lot to say. I feel like this will be on my top 10 at the end of the year. It's getting some album of the year buzz in our group chat though.
Well, I mean, Big Jeff he gave Jim Jones album of the year buzz for 2 years running. So I mean,
that's true. That's a good point. So I don't know how much we can trust.
There's bias there.
That's a good point.
Big Jeff, thank you from Buffalo.
That's a very good point, man. Y'all let us know what y'all thought about the Hit Boy and Nas. Did it work? Were you anticipated? Could you see Nas working with somebody else in a similar fashion? Allegedly, he has a secret project coming around the corner. He teased this on Breakfast Club. The only thing I can think of what this is what he was supposed to be working on after that Nasir album, which was the Swiss and RZA joint. They were supposed to get together and do something. So I don't know if he still got those in the tuck, but he's got a secret project that's on the way.
Interesting.
He probably should have dropped that now because Swiss cracking with the verses. He might have got more pub.
You just reversed him.
Yeah, tough. Drop the Swiss thing now while that iron is hot, and then drop this maybe top of the year.
Oh, can Nas sit on the album like for a year?
Yeah. You could have heard this time next year. It'd have been straight.
That's true.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It would have been fresh. It still would have hit, in my opinion.
That's fair. Because Nas ain't really rapping about the times and shit. Oh my God.
That's what I'm saying. He not talking about no crazy shit. No time. Nothing with time restraints on it. Man, let's get to these wins and these losses.
Porter Jr. just got put on a poster. Donovan Williams. What is it? D. Williams? What's my man name?
Donovan
Spider?
Mitchell? Yeah.
He was
Uh,
posterized.
that's funny. Man, let's get to these wins and these losses. We got a W to Schoolboy Q. Shout out to him. He is featured on the brand new 2K Golf. Shout out to Schoolboy, avid golfer. How you feel about that?
Very avid golfer. I'm trying to get into it myself. Schoolboy said that he had his assistant book a course for every stop that he had on his tour last year, including overseas. He said he played golf every day. So I'm trying to get into golf that way, man. Jay Ho from FSP fame is trying to gas me to get this 2K golf. I'm not sure if I'm going to make that commitment because Madden is right around the corner.
Yeah.
But I felt like this was interesting to have rappers on a 2K golf game and like kind of broadening the perspective of golf itself. And it's not, people have this this thing in their head that it takes a lot, but it really doesn't. It just takes some time. So
yeah, man. Shout out to Schoolboy. That's a good look. New music from TDE. Anybody want to come out? Anybody feel free to come out, bro?
Kendrick finna come hurt you niggas' feelings. Just give him time, man.
He too busy doing Nike commercials and shit. Even though that commercial was fire, though. I got to get to him. That the Kobe commercial was dope with Kendrick narrating it.
It's Kendrick Lamar. That's what we do.
That's our first time hearing him in 3 years, bro. He sound good, man.
That's why it was so dope. We can take 3 years off. We don't gotta put God's plan out every year.
Next up, man, W to J. Cole. He just received not one, not two, but 12 new gold and platinum certifications for his 2014 album, 2014 Forest Hills Drive. Does that album get enough credit?
No, absolutely not, man. I think it's probably the best album since 2010, right there with To Pimp a Butterfly.
What?
Good Kid, Mad City. You got to go with the verses of those. It's one of those three. Absolutely. The Forest Hills Drive records that did receive was January 28th. It just went there. Adolescence 3. Well, excuse me, those are the gold ones. Those are the brand new certifications for Wet Dreams, which went 4 times platinum. No Role Models went 6 times platinum. GOMD went 3 times platinum. And there are 3 other songs off there that are also 3 times platinum. Come on, man.
Shout out to
Cole is credit.
No features, by the way, on that album.
Oh, he good off that album. Jesus
Absolutely.
Christ.
And he produced a lot of that shit, too. So he eating good, unless he got a 50 Cent deal. Also, another W to RZA for cashing out. He sold 50% of his catalog to Hypnosis, the music buying company that is obviously on a roll right now. Like, shout out to RZA. We just mentioned not too long ago, an episode or 2 ago, when somebody else sold their shit, man. Who was that? No ID?
No ID.
No ID, Rodney Jerkins. A lot of people selling their shit, bro. Mm-hmm. So shout out to RZA, man, for cashing out, man. Fuck it, I'm with it.
Keep your eye on that company, man. They must be doing a lot of big things. Thinking what happens when an artist sells their catalog to a company like this. These companies then leverage those catalogs to be placed in movies, be played at sporting events and commercials, things of that nature. So they get the kickback every time those things are played. So
yeah, man.
Artists are taking the money up front. The company's taking the loan money, but their money depends on their placement of the music.
So. Absolutely. Now that's a big look, man. Shout out to RZA. I gotta remind people. Shout out to my guy Twan Sounds. He said Jay is next with the splash. He gonna sell Tidal. He said that's next. Just saying, if it happens, I gotta give him his credit. Y'all remember where y'all heard it first. Hey man, before we get out of here, on Decker of the Week, this goes to Instagram. Big shout out, Mr. Little 916. Got to shoot him the link to the our top songs of 2020 playlist. Make sure y'all check that out. It is still available on all streaming sites. And he let us know, man. He said, shout out to y'all. Y'all the realest hip-hop/culture pod out here. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Mr. Little 916.
Absolutely, man. We appreciate that. We appreciate you rocking with us, man. We're going to continue to do big shit.
Give me something to put on, man, before we get out of here.
Well, we usually we do nonfiction stuff when we're talking about reading, mostly self-help stuff. So people who are into fiction reading, I came across a book that I read before on Audible. I want to check out the audio version of it. It's called Hoodlum, and it's by Kwan, Kwan. And if you're familiar with the coldest winter ever story, this is similar, but it's from a male's perspective.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, so it's a really dope read. I'm gonna see what the audiobook is talking about. I hope they got someone good narrating it, but it's called Hoodlum by Quan. Check that out. Well, you got
I
to
can
put us
respect
on.
that. I'm gonna put you guys on the new spicy nuggets from McDonald's. No, I'm just bullshitting.
What? I'm surprised you were able to sit through this episode and have not gone to the restaurant.
Nah, I ain't eating that shit.
They don't got spicy nuggets at McDonald's.
It's new. They coming out this week.
Got the inside scoop on that, didn't you?
No, nigga, it's the internet,
I've never seen you talking about Wendy's.
You been on the internet? Have you seen Twitter? It's
I've
pretty
never
interesting.
seen it.
Yeah, no, they coming soon. They announced it the other day. Just thought that shit was hella fun. They 9 years late, like a motherfucker. Wendy's had spicy nuggets for 2 decades, dude.
I'm gonna try them and everything.
Yeah, you have fun with that. No, real talk though. Speaking of the hypnosis company, I'm glad you mentioned that they're doing big things because their stock is out here. You put me on to the stock. Their ticker is HPGSF. The price right now for a share of hypnosis is $1.61. I would definitely look into that. That's a long-term play. I am not a financial advisor or broker. I'm just telling you what I am interested in, and I think I'm gonna grab a couple of shares because they are buying up. People are selling to them left and right, dog. I'm talking about everybody, like big dogs. You know what I'm saying? So,
and you
I
gotta
think the sky is the limit.
Facts, and you have to think with the new way that sports are being broadcast and the new restrictions on stadiums that there's going to be some type of play with music is coming in, and companies like this company is going to be major in the content that you consume based off the music rights that they hold. So keep an eye on that.
I think they're like trying to get a monopoly on that shit, bro. So when
movies
come out every week, TV shows come out every day. There's video games come out. All the music, they need scores, bro. And if there's one company that's eating up all of that, then they're gonna do big shit. So I'm looking at that stock. I'm going to go ahead and cop some. So yeah, that's my put on is that stock. Now don't come at me if they lose money. I'm not no fucking financial advisor. And if they lose money, hey, fuck it, we both lost money. We're in the same boat. Hey man, before we get out of here, I have to remind people, patreon.com/realville. We got real big changes, real big updates coming to Patreon in September. Super excited for y'all to hear this bonus content that we will be putting out. And I say I'm referring to the entire network, Realville Media Group. There'll be new sports shit. There'll be new fashion shit. There'll be new hip hop shit. There'll be new movie shit. Listen, it's going to be big shit popping on patreon.com/realville. Please keep an eye on our Instagram at OndeckTV Podcast and all of our personal IGs as well, as we will be giving you more details coming soon in September, which is right around the corner. So that's exciting.
Man, we definitely appreciate you guys joining us. We want to send our thoughts and prayers out to the shooting victim of Jacob Blake, the guy that got shot by the cops in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Our thoughts and prayers go to his family and his friends. Hope that he's well. News came out he's paralyzed from the wounds of the police. Yeah, so just definitely want to keep him in our prayers. And just remember, man, Black Lives Matter.
Absolutely, man. Hey, to the next time, we out.